This is the Tame Aperture podcast.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal.
Hello, Hal, do you read me?
Do you read me, Hal? Do you read me, Hal?
Affirmative, Dave. I read you. I read you. I read you.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Come on down and jump some of this shit.
You'll always have that. Sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Welcome to the Tame Aperture podcast, where we talk about all things movies from first-time directors, indie films, art house, and much, much more. Today, we're talking about the film that taught us how important a rug can be if it ties the room together. That's right, we're diving into the Coen brothers' most annoyingly quotable movie, The Big Lebowski. It stars Jeff Bridges, Steve Buscemi, and of course John Goodman in arguably his most iconic role. We've got bowling, we've got nihilists, and we've got white Russians that are probably 90% expired cream. Here's how Rotten Tomatoes describes it. Jeff Bridges plays Jeff Lebowski, who insists on being called the Dude, a laid-back, easygoing burnout who happens to have the same name as a millionaire whose wife owes a lot of dangerous people a bunch of money, resulting in the Dude having his rug soiled, sending him spiraling into the Los Angeles underworld. I'm Alan Martindale, editor and filmmaker, and along for the ride, as always, is our fearless leader, Gabe Vienendahl, filmmaker, film instructor, and film evangelist. Gabe, this is your element. How the hell you doing?
Here we are, Big Lebowski. Let's go.
This is an epic one, and I do got to say, I did call it in the intro. I did call it the Coen brothers' most annoyingly quotable movie because it is. Because every annoying person, including myself, can't help but quote this fucking movie nonstop, front to back. Like I was doing it all the entire runtime when I was watching it, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to stop. And I couldn't help it, man. It's a league game, Smokey. Mark it an 8, dude. Like, there's so much shit in here that's just, I'm throwing rocks tonight. Like, I can't stop. It's so good.
I mean, especially Walter lines. The Walter lines here are, I mean, they're out of their element, if you know what I mean.
Donnie, you're out of your fucking element. Yeah. I don't think there is a better John Goodman role ever. And I also don't think there's a more perfect role for John Goodman than Walter.
He's so good.
He's so good, dude.
So much of that is in the writing.
That's one thing I kept coming back to because everyone talks, and rightfully so, everyone talks about the performances, the story, the characters, but man, the writing is so good. It's spot on.
Yeah, I saw an interview with John Goodman, who's fantastic in this film. Like, that character of Walter is, I mean, if you want to laugh and just like lose your mind, he's the one. This is so good. He said, people ask me if like a lot of those scenes were improvised, if they were just kind of like, let's just figure it out. And he said, I'm not that good as an actor. That's what he said.
I disagree, but
I disagree as an actor, but like the writing, like what he was saying was the writing was there, and I just delivered and granted, yes, as an actor, he's phenomenal, but the lines weren't improvised. His performance was a great actor, but the lines were. So he was saying, I'm not that good, being like, look, I didn't make those lines up.
But that is a testament to the acting, because it's supposed to feel like, isn't that the ideal? Is that you feel like you're watching people in real life when you watch a movie, and this is what they would naturally say and do. Like, if you can actually be so far removed from the idea that there's a writer in this, that to me, that's insane acting. That's just so good.
Someone has to do that thing and make it real, but someone had to think how to put that together, and that's what he's saying, right?
I totally get it. One thing I think that's getting lost in this discussion is the direction, because the rehearsal for them to be able to like interrupt them like in the right exact moment, because they do. Like the Coens are notorious. Like you don't verge from the script, you're right on it, but like the Coens are notorious. Like you don't verge from the script, you're right on it, but like they got to hit their marks verbally and blocking wise. So for them to like know, like just watching him, Walter about to berate Donnie again for the millionth time, and then he gets distracted in that, and he's like about the tournament. I can't remember what the line was, but he's like, "Shut the fuck up!" Oh wait, when are we bowling? When are we rolling? Like just the way it's that's in the blocking and the direction and like going over it and rehearsing it and actually being a competent actor. Like it just everything kind of came together. It's a perfect storm. That's what it
Yes.
feels like to me.
Donnie says he peed on the dude's rug. Donnie, you're out of your element. Yeah, there's just so many. Yeah, and I will attribute that to, I feel like there's a lot of acting nuance there, right?
Yep,
But you have to be able to foundationally base that off of good writing. So
for
it's
sure.
it's it's like it's a ping pong. It's like, oh, I gave you this, I'll give you that. I gave you this as a writer, you give me that, and it's just this beautiful thing going back and forth. And John Goodman is so good. So we jumped right into this podcast just saying how great John Goodman as Walter is in this movie.
Well, you can't bury the headline. Like he to me, he is the he's well, and it's hard for me to say this because I think everyone is amazing, but he is the star of the show. He is his performance and his character are the peak. Like it doesn't work without him and without John Goodman playing that role. Anyone else, maybe I'm sure they could do it. I'm sure it would be good, but no one's doing it like this.
Yeah, it's like the core. Once again, outside of just acting, like this is the core tenets of film. There's like three categories here to me that stand out. One is the writing, one is the acting, and one is the cinematography. These are like core tenets of how to make an exceptional movie, and they're all there. And it seems like it's hard to do that, and they did.
They did.
You
They
know,
did. Um, and this is the Coen brothers, obviously. So they are very well respected, very well renowned, and I know you love them like dearly. They hold a dear place in your heart for sure,
so
right?
so much so that my youngest son, so I have three children who I love and adore, but my youngest, his name's Coen. Coen, spelled like the Coen brothers. To me, there's just a lot there. I'm not going to get into it and make it this big, I'm not going to dive in and just
I'm
say
not gonna
how,
start crying and like we like do what we did about Zach Kreger when we did the weapons and
yes.
barbarian episode. Yeah.
But the Coen brothers in general, what I love about them is they're just so, to me, Alan, they're unapologetic.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, it's like they're never chasing approval.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is when you're making movies, you're always trying to maybe like, oh, how do I position this in a story? Or how do I write this in a way that an audience might feel comfortable or adapt to? You know what I mean? Like there's real subtext there that they just simply do what they want to do, and they do exactly what they want to make, and they don't really give a shit.
And
And if you
that's
think you like it or you don't, it doesn't matter to them. And you can sense that in the way they're making the movies they make. And Lebowski is one of those.
yeah, and that's what we as filmmakers, we all say that that's how we feel. We all say like I don't give a shit. Like this, I made this for me, but that's bullshit. See, it's like that's
You're
bullshit.
always thinking about how people will perceive it.
No matter you can't not.
And I actually think that the Coen brothers, at least in the portfolio of films they've made, I actually don't think they care,
I don't think they do either.
which is crazy to say.
It's
So if you're going
especially
into Big Lebowski, reserve your expectations because it's not a traditional film. You might get lost and be like, what are we doing here?
yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of that. When you prepping for the show, I always gather as many bad reviews as I can find, and there are a lot of people who don't understand the mass adoration of this film. A lot.
Yeah, if you think it's one thing, like a lot of times viewers, I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I went to a recent movie, Project Hail Mary, with
Oh,
Ryan
is it
Gosling.
good?
Fantastic.
That's what I've heard.
Best film of the year. And Alan goes, wait, it's only March. And I go, it's still the best film I already know.
Shut the fuck up, Alan.
No, I'm just saying,
You're
like,
out of your element.
I'm just saying, best film of the year. And everyone goes, it's only March of the year. And I go, I already know it's the best film.
Yeah.
Good movies will come out. That's the best film of the year.
Okay.
But it's because you think it's one thing. And then if you think it's that, with Lebowski, like if you think it's one thing, you won't like it's gonna shift gears. Like you won't like it because it's gonna just totally shift. So reserve your expectations.
Okay. I cannot remember the first time I saw the film, but I do remember having to see it a few times before it really clicked what was going on, before I truly think I understood the twists and turns and ins and outs.
You know, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous, and
A lot of characters that have absolutely no bearing on the plot whatsoever. Jesus. And so there's a lot going on, and it can be a little overwhelming. Like by the end of the film, I'm like, okay, I'm glad it's over because there's so much and it's so chaotic and it's funny and it's well done, but it does, and this is where you might disagree, you probably will disagree. I think it overstays its welcome a little bit. Because there is a point where I'm checking my watch, like, okay, where are we at? And I know, like, people are gonna kill me for this because everyone thinks it's a perfect movie, but it does run a little long. But it's just by the chaos, like by the time it's done, we don't get a full resolution. Here's my point: we don't get a full resolution at the end. We don't know exactly what happened. We have an idea, but we don't know what, did Bunny go back with her family because she's a runaway? We don't really know, but we don't really care. I didn't care because I was just ready for it to be done. I was like, okay, there's just too much going on. I don't want to follow along anymore. Okay.
I thought me and you were born the same year. Which what I mean by that is it's okay to let things kind of be.
Yeah.
And
be more dude.
Exactly.
Be more dude.
You don't need all the resolution. You don't need everything. Like that's what I think makes the film work, Alan, for me, which is like and pardon my French here for those listening, but let's just go bowling. Fuck it. Is that not kind of...
That's how it ends. That's literally how it ends. Fuck it. Let's go bowling.
But is that not the commentary that they're trying to make?
I think so.
Which is like shrug of shoulders and let's just go bowling.
Well, and I think the point I was trying to make with my incoherent rambling is that there's no resolution, but I'm not sure how many people who've only seen this once or maybe twice really know that there's no resolution. Like it's not like Inception, where you're hanging like what happened? What happened at the end there? Did the top fall or not? This was just basically it's over and the dude's going to be the dude and we're going back to the world and that's all that matters. And everyone had a good time.
And I see where you're going, but we get a beautiful Sam Elliott narration.
We do.
So that's resolving to me. The way he delivers that final narration. I mean, come on, dude. It's pretty nice.
Like he's perfect for this. Like it's so good. It's so good. Uh, that does bring me to a question though. So last episode, we talked about Cocaine Bear, and you were giving me shit because I was trying to say like, oh, it's really about family, and you're like, it doesn't matter what it's about. It's cocaine. He does cocaine and he goes on a rampage. That's all that matters.
Well,
Um,
we have two things: cocaine and a bear.
and a bear. Exactly. That's all you need. That's all you need to know. And you're right, but I was correct. It is about family, and I'll die on that hill. But this is another film on the other end of the spectrum. Completely like there's so much subtext going on here. There's so much meaning. There's so much visual, so many visual metaphors. But does it matter?
No, because this is where I might become a nihilist.
Because you believe in nothing.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I am, but in relation to the movie and your question, like, what are we looking for? You know,
Yeah. How many times would you say you've seen this film?
probably, to be honest, only maybe half a dozen times.
That's still a lot.
5, 6 times. Yeah.
I'd say I'm probably around there too. Um, I've made it to the end far fewer times than that, though. I'd say probably three
You
now.
just can't hold on.
No, I don't know what I think it may have been like have friends over, we start watching it,
You,
and then we get drunk or get distracted or something,
you
and
got a little deuterino in you, and you're like,
yeah,
oh well.
oh, it'll end. I don't know.
One of the things I love about this, to kind of push it back into some of the characters, is like, well, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, which is like, there's just so much natural fall in with these characters. And what I mean by that is that they all just, and it makes me laugh because they all just seem fine with everything that's happening as it's happening. And I mean that by like, as if it's expected.
Yeah,
It's just a routine thing that we're going to throw a briefcase full of money and there's a ransom. And Walter's just like,
Walter pulls out a gun.
it's just like everyone just falls in and ironically, that's what makes it funny to me is that everyone just falls in line with the natural events that are happening around them. Which for us, like, like, what would you do, right? Like, someone pulls a gun in a bowling alley, or like, it just
But
seems like Walter's so accepting of the dude's current circumstances.
Walter's been dying for this exact type of thing to happen. He's been waiting
Yeah.
since Nam to go crazy like this. There's two things that I find incredibly hilarious about the whole him pulling a gun at the bowling alley. The first is that they walk out calm. They're arguing, but they're walking out calmly. They're not running out. They know the cops are coming. They're not rushing to get away from the cops. They sit in the car, and as the cops are pulling up and they're running into the bowling alley, they're not even they like register it and they just keep going about their business. To me, that's hilarious. Like, oh yeah, we expected this to happen. We knew the cops were going to come. No big deal. Who cares? And then uh they let they just let Walter come back to the bowling alley. Like nothing happened. He's still in the league. He may have had to
Now,
forfeit the game. Who knows?
now keep in mind, this is taking place in the early 90s. So I agree with you. Like nowadays, that's not happening.
I don't think it's happening even back then.
I don't know. Saddam in the early 90s and like
Yeah, but like pulling out a gun and pointing and like cocking it and pointing it directly at someone's face over
I don't know. I was what, 10, 11, 12 years old. I'm not so
you
sure
were doing that
that,
all the time. You were like
dude,
at the
you
arcade.
don't be dishonest. Don't be dishonest. You know that 91, 92 was way different than 2026.
Way different, but I still think that if someone pulled out a gun and threatened someone with it, they're
I
not,
got
at
pulled.
the very least, they're not welcome back at the bowling alley.
I don't know.
At the very least.
I'm not so sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, I got a gun pulled on me at the Smith's parking lot in Salt Lake City when I
Holy
was 12
shit.
years old. Like,
What?
I'm just not so sure.
What? Wait. I know this is a film podcast, but you're going to have to explain that. You got to give us
I'm
a
just
little
saying,
context for that.
I don't really know what it was. You're 12, 13. Like, kids don't like the 90s. You got to be honest with yourself to some degree. The 90s, early 90s were way different.
For sure.
They just were.
For sure. Was it a kid who pulled the gun on you?
A teenager. Yeah, I was 12, 13 years old. I probably I probably went to get Pogs. I don't know what I went to get.
Yeah.
At the Smith's market. It wasn't even a marketplace. It was just called
Smith's. Yeah.
Walking out. You give someone the wrong eye. Kid sitting on the parking on the side. He's in the red painted lines, like the fire lines.
And he was in a car?
Yeah. I'm 2-3 years younger.
Is this like Boys in the Hood? Were you growing up in South Central? This is exactly what happened in that movie.
You would think that's what it was, but if you gave someone that's my point though. Like the 90s just weren't the same, dude. They just weren't the same.
Well, and I also love that Smokey, his biggest concern was to get the game forfeited to them. Like he calls the dude and leaves him a message. It's not like, hey man, like that was really uncool. It was just like, hey, just want to let you know I reported to the league. And hopefully they'll give us the match.
and the league, what did the league do?
I don't know. I can't. I know the guy called him, but I don't know what happened.
I think they gave him the forfeit, but also ultimately they made it to the playoffs. So
they did.
But here's the thing. Walter blows everything out of proportion. That's what makes the characters work so good. And you watch these scenes, that's what makes it funny.
It is.
When they're going to do the drop off with the briefcase and they're driving down and they're going to and he's like, when I hit 15 mph, I'm rolling out.
You're like, he's so excited. He's got his Uzi.
He's so that blowing out of proportion is what makes it so absurd and funny. And so it just, that dynamic of like, especially with the dude and with Donnie is what makes it so comical,
It is. That's why I think the subtext doesn't matter.
The subtext doesn't matter here, but like what's the question here? There's so many blow-ups. Walter has so many blow-ups. He loses his mind.
He does.
I'm curious if you have like a one that really stands out to you, because there's so many of them. Because I have one, but I'm curious what yours is.
There are
What's
two.
The best Walter blow-up?
I mean, I think we're gonna have the same one as the top one. My second favorite is the gun in the bowling alley, because that's just epic. So in that sequence, so many quotable lines just in that. But obviously, when they go to confront Larry, the kid, and they think it's his Corvette, and so he goes outside with the crowbar and starts smashing up the Corvette, and it's not even his. And it just keeps saying over and over, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Do you see what happens, Larry? Do you see what happens? So epic. That is epic. There's nothing better than that.
And how many times he repeats the same line?
Here's a little piece of trivia. Have you seen the edited TV version of The Big Lebowski?
No. But can I share something?
Yes.
Because edited TV never does justice to the real movie.
Right.
And I won't get into the details, but there's a scene from Ace Ventura that I specifically remember where Jim Carrey goes, the killer saw the size of the bug's dick and got insanely jealous. In the edited version, he goes, The killer saw the size of the bug's gherkin and became insanely jealous. That was the edited TV version.
Yeah, no, the edited version of this in that scene as he's smashing the shit out of the Corvette and saying, "This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass." The dubbed version says, "See what happens, Larry? This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps." What does that even mean?
Find
What does
a
that even
stranger
mean?
in the Alps?
When you find a stranger in the Alps. And apparently they brought them in to do the TV dub and they just kind of let him say anything. And so John Goodman just said that
A lot of
quite
F-bombs.
quite a lot.
I mean, I feel like every other word is probably an F-bomb.
It is for sure. It's amazing. To the point where even Sam Elliott's like, "Do you have to use so many dang cuss words?"
That's what I love about the writing, though, is the Coens were like, we wrote it. 95% of what you're hearing is what we wrote, because a lot of this is not improv, as was validated by the actors. I watched an interview with the actors, and they're like, we didn't really improv a lot. They just wrote
Yeah.
it, and that was it. And then they just address it, and they go, yeah, we know we're swearing a lot. We don't care. That's the unapologetic nature of the Coens, which I love.
Yep. And that, I mean, that's why I like that edit so much because it's just saying like this is ridiculous to even try and censor this. So we're just going to make it as ridiculous as possible.
And John Goodman was like, wait, what's the line again? Wait, what does he say? Find a stranger in the Alps?
Find a stranger in the Alps.
Wow. So they called him in. So wait, you're telling me they called him in for ADR
Mm-hmm.
and he said, because he was like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. As far as I understand, that's the lore behind it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It's great though. It's fantastic because I remember seeing that on Comedy Central being like, what does that even mean? It's brilliant because it matches his lips so perfectly and it's so absurd that it draws more attention to it, which is amazing.
Now the question is it John Goodman's voice?
I think so. Yeah, because I do remember hearing an interview with him or reading an interview with him where they said that he had to go in and actually do it.
So he did it. He improvised it. And in his mind, he was like, I'm just going to say something dumb because who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
We already made a cool movie and I don't want to like
Right.
shit on the Coen brothers script.
Right. And which rightfully so. Because I don't know.
Because Garkin was also the other thing about Garkin and Ace Ventura, and I specifically remember this as a kid, it was like not Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay.
So you hear Jim Carrey and he goes,
Oh my
the
God.
killer saw the size of the bugs, and that's all Jim Carrey. And then it says Garkin.
What? That's so weird.
Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to get sidetracked.
No, it's always fascinating to see what goes into that kind of stuff because it's a whole like it's a whole production process to do this stuff just to get it to air on TV. That's a whole other thing.
And then you just miss out on the authenticity.
Yeah. I agree.
But going back to your point, like I just say one quick thing. The dude's reaction to all of Walter's blowing out of proportion is such a great chemistry of the characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the dude just reacts in such a way that you go, "Oh yeah, I get what he's saying." And Walter's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love that piece to it. It's just it's a driving force to the story in the film.
But here's the thing, and I think we're far enough into it. We can definitely say full spoilers, obviously. But Walter, his insanity ends up becoming very useful in saving the day. He actually kicks the shit out of the nihilists because he's batshit insane and saves the dude's life. So what is he really that crazy? Because he was right all along. She didn't get kidnapped. It wasn't her toe. Like he was not wrong about that shit.
Yeah, I feel like Walter is the through line to the movie in the
For
sense
sure.
that we can, in all his craziness, we can trust him.
Absolutely. That's the thing. There, I think you just nailed it. And that's why Walter's so like he drives you fucking insane, right? You're like, what is going on? Who is this guy? But you also love him because he is so lovable. Like at the end, he gets incredibly protective of Donnie. He gets protective of the dude. Like he gives the dude a hug after he just dumps all of Donnie's ashes onto the dude.
But
And
but
I'm
before
I'm
we get
talking.
there, even he, you know, let's not forget he isn't it him that throws a bowling ball at Flea's balls
Yes, yes, exactly.
and Flea
And
from we're talking about the Red Hot. We're talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers.
right, Flea.
Flea.
Yeah. And I mean, I would have loved to seen him have a bigger role because I think he's great as an actor.
Actually, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he really is.
He's also in Point Break as a side note.
And he's in Back to the Future Part 2. This film is considered a cult classic. I don't know if I'd say that because it feels like it's got a much wider following and it's more beloved than just like a small group of people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do call it a cult classic. But it famously flopped when it was released.
Yeah, it didn't do well
No,
when it
not at
got
all.
released. Yeah, yeah.
Any ideas of why?
My answer to that question would be that they like this is the follow-up to Fargo, and you have Oscar nominations, Oscar wins. Fargo is probably, which I love that movie. My son's name is Coen, in case you didn't remember. So Fargo is to me, man, if I could die and be reincarnated as a person who made films, that's up there. Um, so I think that's part of it to me in my head, Alan, to your question is like you're trying to follow up Fargo and you did it with this. But this is what I love about the Coens. They're unapologetic. They're going to try something different. They don't give a shit what people think. We did Fargo and now we're going to do the Big Lebowski. Like those are totally different types of movies. Stylistically, there's some similarities because they're the Coen brothers, but ultimately they're
Yep.
not the same type of thing.
The average movie goer, they may not even. I don't know if they're going to see The Big Lebowski because the Coens made it. You know, like I think they're going to go because
Not, I would say one thing to that, not at this point, probably in their career,
right,
even though they had Fargo, maybe 10 years later, they're going
right.
because it's the Coen brothers. They're not quite there. Even with Fargo, they're not quite there. So I agree with you. Yeah.
So I just to me, I've been racking my brain. I can't explain why this flopped and why people didn't like it or people didn't want to see it because it really was until it started airing on TV. From what I can tell, from the very vast amounts of research I've done, which is next to nothing. um, it was airing on TV that kind of brought it back into consciousness of the public, and then people started to like it, and that's what brought it back to life, as far as I can tell. So, why it took TV and a TV edit butchering the brilliant writing and brilliant dialogue, why it would that is what would bring it back into the consciousness. I don't know, but that's what seemed to do it, which is crazy to me because this should have been beloved from the get-go.
Yeah. And I also think, there's a cultural zeitgeist with what happened, like you're saying. So there's like, there ends up being a Lebowski fest,
Yeah.
which starts to take place in Louisville, Kentucky. Um,
Why not LA?
I actually like that it doesn't take place in LA.
I know, but that's the setting of the film.
True.
But I know it's a little bit LA. That's a big like it's not like a small little town, you know, like it's not like oh we're gonna gather in the small town once a year and celebrate this movie. There's a it's gonna get lost in LA. So I think you're
Yeah,
right.
there was a Lebowski fest that took place in a few years after the movie, and that kind of created a cultural zeitgeist to some degree. Also, like you're saying, the replays or the television, right? But it picked up culturally. To be honest, and this is maybe a lot of people won't agree with this, and I think it was kind of ahead of its time, just in terms of like the silliness of it and the comedic nature, and like, hey, we're not going to take ourselves too serious. And
Yeah.
people didn't want that. They wanted the more dramatic thing, and they liked the idea of like, hey, we're gonna be fun and silly and make it really out there and kind of crazy and zany. And I
I
think that
wonder
landed.
if the complex plot may have played a role too, now that I'm thinking about it. I wonder if people got lost a little bit. Um, and I used to get lost in it too, and it didn't matter because it's just a good movie. It didn't, I mean, that's saying something because we always talk about story, how important story is and the plot and the characters and how it needs to be tight and solid. But in this, like the story doesn't really matter. I mean, you need a plot device, you need something to get the chaos going, but then once it starts happening, who gives a shit? It's all about the characters.
Yeah, the characters are strong, and also this was written, as a side note, historically, from what I did in the research, was this was written during the same time as Barton Fink.
Oh, interesting.
So what the Coens do, they end up like starting writing scripts, okay? And they'll start something and then they'll stop it and move on to another one if they're not motivated to continue with that script. So this particular script was also written at the same time as something like Barton Fink. So previously, that's why it takes place in the early '90s with Saddam and all the Iraqi. You hear those narration pieces.
Yeah.
Maybe it culturally didn't land because it was written at a time that didn't, resonate later on in the '90s. I'm not sure.
Well, I remember when it came out and hearing Sam Elliott talk about how this takes place in, 1990 when we had the dust up with the Iraqis. This came out in 98 and that felt like an eternity ago. They're talking about the first Iraq war and I'm like, well, that was so long ago. Dude, that was like 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Like that it just happened. But it felt like an eternity ago. And I don't know if that's just because I was younger, but and maybe I was too like I remember the first Iraq war, but I was not. I mean, I think I was in fourth or fifth grade or something like that. And so, it wasn't a foundational memory of mine. And so it may have felt like a long time ago. So it's just interesting. And of all, I mean, people make movies about Vietnam and, World War II, World War One, but when have we ever seen a movie that, it's not super essential to the plot, but I think there's a lot of subtext behind it where the first Iraq War is pretty important to what's going on underneath uh, the surface. And how often do you see that for the first Iraq War, if
Yeah, I
ever?
mean, Barton Fink is released in '91, and based on my research, they're writing this movie at the same time.
Makes
Which
sense.
which makes sense because that lands right in the Iraqi war, early '90s. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think I know what you feel about this movie, but I want to just get it on record. Where do you put this? And we know you're a massive Coen Brothers fan. I think you named a pet or something after the Coen Brothers, something like that. Is that right?
My son
Oh, your son. That's right. I don't know how I could have forgot that one. Where would
literally named my offspring after these. And as a side note to that, I was making an independent film, and you may have heard this story, but I'm going to say it again. We're on set. My wife's 8 months pregnant, and we're talking about names. I'm talking about names to our production script supervisor. And we're just talking dirt between takes. And I'm like, yeah, we're having a baby, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to figure out names, whatever. And we're like I said, I love the Coen brothers are my like top 3 filmmakers of all time. And I text my wife during that and I go, what about the name Coen? And she goes, yes. And I went, and we had been debating and talking and thinking about names. And there it was.
But
So
what
me
you
and the
couldn't
script
see
supervisor, we landed on the name.
you couldn't see her eye roll when she said that. That was
She's
the
like,
only thing.
Coen brothers.
Oh God, here we go. But where do you put this? I mean, just saying. Obviously, you're a
Well,
massive fan. You respect
I'm
him.
going
Where
to
do you
run
put
through
this
a
in there?
list here. I got Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, Hudsucker Proxy, Fargo, Big
That's
Lebowski.
so that's
We've already
the
talked about this a
order.
little bit off
Right.
camera.
But that's the order. You're going.
No,
Do that one
that's
more
their
time.
order of
Okay,
that's the
because I was going to say
chronological order.
those are the order that they released this all in.
And we
No, but
talked about this off camera, which is like those are not great. Like those are home runs or triples every time in
yes,
baseball
agreed.
terminology.
So where do you rank this in their
And
entire
Fargo's a grand
filmography?
slam.
Fargo is a grand slam. Where do you rank the Big Lebowski in their entire filmography?
It's
Where
a
do you
home run, dude. It's
just a home run? Not a grand
It's a home
slam.
run. I mean, it's like verging on a grand slam, but just not enough. It's a home run with like 1 RBI or 2 RBIs. It's
Okay,
not
so
a.
you're
It's not a grand
okay.
slam.
So you're putting Fargo. That's your number one for them?
Yeah, Lebowski's like 2 RBIs on a homer.
I would agree with that entirely.
We got a
That's-
guy on first and second.
Yep.
We hit a home run, and we bring him in.
Yep, I agree. Fargo, I mean, Fargo is a grand slam to win the ALCS, to go to the World Series.
It gets us to the championship.
Yeah. It's not quite World Series winner, but it's close.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay. All right. I would have guessed you would have put this at the
But
top.
then I
That's
go,
interesting.
well, the Coen brothers are executive producers on Bad Santa. And Alan goes, oh, that's a World Series home run / that's a Grand Slam World Series win.
You need to hear me very carefully when I say this. You're goddamn right it is. It is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. One of the greatest films of all time.
Wow.
That I may be pushing it there, but it is definitely like Bad Santa is fantastic.
The executive produced.
I know.
So that means they saw something.
They brought it into the world.
And we both love Bad Santa. You more than me, but I do love Bad Santa. It's a great movie.
It's so good. There's not a better Christmas movie. I just tangent real quick. There's not a better Christmas movie out there. You can't say Christmas Vacation. What are some other ones?
It depends on who you're watching it with and why you're watching it. What's the sentimentality behind it?
Well, it does. I mean, so I know you've seen the director's cut, which it cuts out all the
Now
heart
we're
of the
going to get
movie.
on a Bad Santa.
We are. We are. I'm going to saddle up here.
I twisted you up.
You did. But you've seen the director's cut, which cuts out all the heart, it's a travesty. Usually director's cuts that's the way to
it's
go.
the opposite,
It
usually.
ruined it. It ruined the whole film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think that's you ready to do some reviews? You got anything else that we should
Bring the
hit on?
reviews on. I mean, there's just so many things here. Like these are questions you don't need to answer, but I'll just throw them out to the viewers and listeners. What's Walter's best blow up? In the world of characters.
Wait. What was your favorite
mine.
blow-up?
We're different. We talked about the bowling alley scene when he's like lying. You talked about I think it was the Larry.
Yeah, the Corvette
Larry,
smashing.
The scene, when he goes to the kid's house, the teenager's house. To me, the best scene is the cafe when he goes off on the when he's. I can't even do it. I'm not even going to do it justice. Just go watch the cafe scene.
My favorite part of that scene is after his blow up and he's sitting there and he's like, I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to sit here and enjoy my coffee.
Yes. When he just goes off on the waitress, it's just like, what are you doing? So that's probably mine, and then followed up by I agree with you. I think the kid scene, the Larry scene, is hilarious.
That's so good. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to touch on real quick. I'm sure you're aware of this, but there is a theory going on out there, and it's actually not a theory because it doesn't hold water as I watched it this time. But it's a fun way to watch the movie if you imagine that Donnie's not real, he's just a figment of Walter's imagination. Because Donnie doesn't say like the dude talks to Donnie a few times, but I think that's about the only time anyone other than Walter speaks to him. It's usually just Walter screaming at him out of nowhere for no reason at all. So it is kind of a fun way to approach the film if you've seen it a million times and you're looking for a new way to watch it. Here's a half star, and these are all from Letterboxd. So you can look up and don't harass these people, but you can look them up. And the thing I like to do is I like to see people I disagree with and then go to their profiles and see which movies they like. That's kind of a fun little game. But here's a half star by Chris Horner. I want to log on here every single day and give this another half star review until I draw the aggregate score into the gutter where it belongs. Every time somebody says this is their favorite movie, an angel loses its wings. Half star by Mohab underscore oh 07. Shut the fuck up, Donnie. That's it.
Mohab, you got to come in with something more hot, dude.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of, if you're going to give it a half star, it's kind of a perfect way to do it. Half star by Miss Memes 22. This is my favorite. This is probably my favorite one. This has a big spoiler, but we've already talked about it, so it doesn't matter. Now, again, there's a half star. Now, before you get mad, I thought the movie was really good. An easy 4 star for me, but they killed off Donnie, so it gets a half star. Justice for Donnie. And I kind of agree with that one. Okay, here are the good reviews, and this one, it'll be interesting to see what you think about this one. 4.5 stars by Dumbsville. Scott Pilgrim for 40-year-old white men.
I mean, his handle is Dumbsville.
Dumbsville. Comedies giving a fuck about good cinematography is my heroine. I love that.
I
It's
like
true.
that one. That
like that
could
one.
be a T-shirt. That one,
I think I'm putting it in the t-shirt pile.
because we didn't even talk about Roger Deakins.
Did he shoot this?
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
we're talking about Look, for those listening, if you don't know, Deakins is like at the Mount Rushmore of cinematographers.
Absolutely.
And you can go look it up. But I'm just saying, Alan, that one is a T-shirt if you think and believe that Deakins is up there, which he's fantastic. So there you go.
I mean, this one is just straight up, without a doubt, this is a t-shirt. That's probably the best t-shirt line we've had. I love this film. Everybody does. I am that annoying person who can't shut up and can't stop quoting this movie in my daily life all the time. I'm that annoying guy. And I know how annoying we are because when when I run into another one of me in the wild, it drives me crazy because it's super obnoxious. But I can't help it. It's fantastic. It does overstay its welcome a little bit. The plot, I like the plot. It's actually
Boo.
it's actually very well tied together. It's tight. It's the beats are perfect. Like it's good, but it runs a little long. I could have stood maybe 20 to 30 minutes shorter, but I don't have a problem with the non-resolution. I like the non-resolution. Overall, I love this movie. I'm giving it 7.9 White Russians with expired cream. Because did you notice that at one point he comes back to his apartment to make himself a White
He
Russian?
smells it.
Well, the cream is just sitting there. It's not in the fridge. It's just sitting there on the counter when he gets home.
I did notice he smells it.
And
though.
then he opens it and he smells it.
Yeah.
And Jess was watching with me and she goes, "Oh, and he just have that sitting out?" Well, no, he pours it in, then smells it. He pours a little bit in, smells it, and then pours the rest in.
He doesn't care.
He's the dude, man.
He's the dude. We didn't even talk about IMDb,
Oh, we didn't. Yeah, we should do that.
but I'll just do a quick one. And the thing I'm going to notice here is that this is 8.1 and Fargo is also 8.1. So what do you think about that?
I think it's surprising for IMDb for both of those to be that high.
Yeah.
Maybe not surprising. Surprising is not the right word. That I 8.1 is a very good score. Is a very good IMDb score.
And I'm going to come in a little higher than that. Just a little bit. So many things happening here. I am a CCR fan. Alan's like, "What are you doing? I hate CCR."
I'm fine with CCR. I do agree with the dude. I fucking hate the Eagles, man.
Great soundtrack. We didn't even talk about T-Bone Burnett. I think the core tenets of the film. We're talking about Deakins on cinematography, Coen's on writing and directing, Bridges, Goodman, Buscemi on acting. I mean, we didn't even talk about Jesus, really.
Oh, and that's a shame because
I mean, Jesus,
Turturro.
Turturro is fantastic.
This is the movie that made me love John Turturro.
He's so good. That's all I can say about him. He's just so good. So the acting, the cinematography, the writing, it's all there for me. Those are the core tenets of a good film. You know, there's other things that play into it, but it's like if that's there, we're good. And we talked about this already, and I mentioned it, but I do love that the Coens are unapologetic. They're not chasing the approval of people. They're just doing what they want, and I love that. More than anything, I love that.
Yeah.
So reserve your expectation. If you think you're just going into a traditional film with an arc of like, oh, this is what happens in the beginning. And then like, there's a lot of wild shit happening here. So I just love that they do that. They're not really trying to conform to, I would say, traditional storytelling to some degree. They're just doing what they think is cool and what is fun and exciting. I love the dream sequences, the flash forwards, like the knockout segments. It's surreal. And everyone goes, is it too much? No, it's hilarious. It's fantastic. It's great filmmaking. Sam Elliott on the narration.
Oh.
You couldn't have cast it better.
No.
And so I'm going to go, I'm going to use a line from the movie, but I'm going to go 8.6.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, 8.6.
Damn.
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look. If you know the movie, you'll find it. You'll know what I'm talking about. At about 5 minutes in, you'll get that reference.
That's a wrap on The Big Lebowski. Go over to tameaperture.com. You can find all of our past episodes and check out our YouTube channel. Give us a like and a subscribe there because that'll help us out a lot too. Until next time, for Gabe, I'm Alan saying, fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
The Tame Aperture podcast is produced by Dutch Angle Pictures in association with Studio B Productions. Listen, watch, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube.